morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Well, tough news, anywhere from, depending on what newspaper you've been reading, 20 right up to 29 people reportedly killed in, Bassa local government of Plateau State. Well, as distasteful as the news is, the fact is that there was a curfew on. Not only that, in the local government area, it is thought that even the army that was there to sort of provide security was camped in the very local government area, if not in the exact school where the killings reportedly have taken place. Okay, the president has indeed been quoted as ordering the army, the troops there, to halt the killings. Actually, I don't even think that they need any orders. I mean, if the president hadn't ordered, wouldn't they halt the killings? But that is the response we've got from from the presidency, according to newspaper reports. Okay, my guests, Mr. Chukwuemeka Eze, a lawyer and public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Yori.
And Mr. Layinka Ola Daniels, also a lawyer and social commentator. Chukwuemeka, if I could start with you. What boggles the mind a bit is that there is a dusk to dawn curfew in the place. And then they are in what you could refer to as something of a safe house because they were taking refuge there. Now, how this could really have happened under the very noses of the soldiers in the area, because that's the way it seems to me, that's what boggles the mind a bit. What, were they overrun? Was it superior firepower? Just what has gone on? The army says it's in the area for an on-the-spot assessment. But give me your thinking.
My thinking is that, one, I'm not competent to discuss this subject because, except from the point of human rights, and as a Nigerian,
exactly, those are what qualify you to discuss this subject. One, human rights. Two, how can this be happening in Nigeria?
Yes,
2017, right?
Yes.
How long is this going to go on for?
There is a paper that I've written, and that paper has to do with the human rights situation in Nigeria. And in the course of writing that paper, I discovered that every administration identifies its security threats. The current administration does not see Fulani herdsmen attack as security threat in reality. In the papers I read. And because I was writing on the human rights situation in the country, I discovered some countries denied giving visas to some top military brass in this country. How did it start? Amnesty International reported on the overbearing activities of, alleged overbearing activities of our military in dealing with the Boko Haram, the excesses, alleged excesses of the military in dealing with the Boko Haram, and IPOB. Those two were mainly reported. And we know since that time we have had the shares also, Boko Haram, shares, and IPOB. Those three were reported in the research I did. And in the course of it, I discovered Fulani herdsmen were not mentioned as a security threat. So the security threats I read were IPOB, Shiites, Boko Haram. And that may even explain why the other groups are out. They just do whatever they like because maybe the security agencies don't really regard them as security threat. And in reaction, our military initially dismissed the concerns of the Amnesty International. When they dismissed it, the second time, they dismissed it, what happened? The United Kingdom and the United States denied some top military brass visas. It was when that denial occurred that the military now set up army stroke, some members of the human rights community, brought them together to actually investigate some of the issues that the Amnesty International raised. So you discover, why did we need, so if they were not denied visas, perhaps that panel wouldn't have been set up.
And when you look at it, Olayinka, it's not the first time. I mean, the reports tell us that these attacks started back on, we're looking at what? September 7. Yeah. This is when these attacks started. And then culminating, at that time, 20 were said to have been killed, culminating in the tragedy that is reported, you know, between yesterday and today. And this time, under the very nose of the army, in a place where they had been put so that you could coordinate their security. And now the army says it's doing an on-the-spot assessment, and the commander-in-chief, the president, has ordered the military to halt the attacks. And we are in the it's in the midst of a curfew. So none of it seems to make very much sense.
At all. I would say everything is wrong with this entire scenario. One, there's a curfew. Two, we had the military guiding that particular local government. Three, even if there's no curfew and there's an attack on a community and you have the security people, or let's say the army, you have them there, do they need any order from any quarters to halt such menace?
Because it almost sounds as if, well, now that the order has come, we'll be able to do something about it. But since there wasn't an order before, it doesn't make sense.
Totally
that's what they're there to do.
It doesn't make sense as far as I'm concerned, because there's no need to wait for any order coming from Mr. President before you halt any attack coming to you. Are there, many in your presence. I don't know when we got to this point.
Now we're talking about who did this. We're talking about men suspected to be Fulani herdsmen, putting it very carefully.
Let us be careful. Let us be careful, because no one has come out to even hold allegiance to that. No one has come out to say we are the one that perpetrated this evil. Now, so don't let us even name any group yet, because we've not heard. Now we say, okay, maybe suspected, because from what we have been seeing the Fulani herdsmen, you know, doing, and some other groups and all that, maybe that's the reason why we are allegedly concluding, well, to an extent, that maybe it's from them. But maybe we should hold on that yet. Now, let's look at it this way. I don't know when our military outfit has come to this point where in your nose, in fact, yes.
Under right your there, very nose.
Under your very own nose. And such things happen and nothing. Oh, if you look at during President Jonathan's administration, a lot of things happened, and we heard how the moves were made. And that was the reason when the foreigners, when the Americans, when they came, they couldn't achieve anything. They had to go back. Why? They have informants among them. There will be an order for some military group to go somewhere, and knowing fully well that the Boko Haram, they had ambushed them somewhere. Now, another one withdraw the order, and those people get themselves in the, in the trap. And the next thing, we hear that our militaries were shot dead, and they were killed. The same thing is actually happening again, because you can't tell me that they don't have those information. These people sneaked in to the school, into the camp, to kill people, and you cannot tell me that we don't have military people around that school. Because you can't tell me that.
It was a controlled environment.
Very controlled environment.
There's a coup. I beg your pardon. A curfew.
Sorry, a curfew.
There's a curfew in the place. Now, I mean, an outraged representative, federal lawmaker representing Jos North Bassa, federal constituency, Honorable Sulaiman Kwande, he's actually called on the federal government to now single this out for investigation, because there appears to him, no doubt, and indeed, let it be said, many other people as this much more to this than meets the eye, because it just doesn't stack up
at all.
I mean, soldiers are around. These are displaced people. In fact, well, I think I read one report that went as far as saying that even soldiers were camped in the very property, but we don't know about that. It's supposed to have been a school. Now that this has happened, and you can't bring those lives back. The president is now saying, I'm ordering you to halt the killings. I wonder what their primary duty in the place was. It wasn't a military maneuver. It wasn't an exercise.
Maybe we should say, Uncle Yori, maybe the military were not even at the post of their duty.
I'm going to stick my neck out and say it is the only rational explanation.
Okay.
Because you can't imagine being able to kill up to 29 people and the military will be watching. Something has happened is why Honorable Sulaiman Kwande is calling for an investigation. I think I probably have to go on a break myself. Let me go on a break. We'll come back. We'll take your calls as early because that's about as much as there is to the story. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, according to Sulaiman Kwande, who is the representative for that very area, the Bassa, area, he says enough is enough. All of the place is in confusion as to what exactly is going on. In fact, they might even go as far as asking, are we Nigerians or not? How much is a Nigerian's life worth if you have, I'm just imagining the picture now, in your camp, they've put soldiers all around you, and there's a curfew, so nobody should be walking around anyhow, and they still managed to kill 29 people. It looks like under the very noses of the soldiers. What's going on?
You may even see the bigger picture, that in a presidential system, everybody looks up to the president to say something. Sometimes, when power flows from only one direction, many people are afraid to take certain actions. They don't know whether the president has interest in here or there. Even that fear alone.
Okay.
Fear.
You mean things could...
No, I'm not talking about a particular
in ordinary
regime.
issues.
I'm talking about...
Generally, the presidential system and Nigeria system.
Yes. Maybe when Obasanjo, we don't know whether Baba has interest in this thing. We don't know whether Jonathan has interest. We don't know whether Buhari... No. It may not really be having interest in dealing with people obnoxiously, but let me, okay, are you with me?
Yes.
I mean, for instance, if you're a commissioner of police, and you hear some people are attacking, let's take during Oba's time, Andy Oba, unknown to you that maybe there is presidential support to attempt to kidnap the governor of the state. Then you are the CP. Suddenly you hear kidnapping is going on. A governor is being kidnapped. And you rush quickly to go and save the governor. Suddenly you get a signal from Abuja. So you discover that before you even do your work, you begin to call the IG as a CP. Call. He may not pick your call in the...
You think it might be... Okay, I hear you.
We come to structure.
Let me take Bitsu. Bitsu calling in from Kaduna. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Well done. You are doing a very nice job, sir. You are doing a very nice job.
Thank you for your compliment. Thank you very much.
Concerning security, the security situation in this country, definitely the government is trying. But the government is not trying enough. The effort is not enough. Since in this country, you cannot move freely. In most parts of this country, definitely, it leaves a lot of questions to answer. Yesterday, I just came back from the southern part of Kaduna, and I drove outside Kafanchan into Gidanwaya, where the College of Education is. If you look at the security situation there, within the area, there are rape cases, there are attacks by people unknown from the forest there. And you now wonder, even the community cannot rightly say who are responsible. When you talk of the security people you see just hanging on the road, and maybe they just stop you, slow you down, you're driving through. They don't even check your boot to see what you carry there. And now tell me, if such cases are reported or take place in those isolated places, how can those security people be mobilized enough immediately to go? Because they may not only be taking place in the daytime, even in the night when people are back from their farms and are resting at home. So the government needs to really come out. And of course, even as you go through the road, you see few security people available. They're not enough. They're not enough. Because if you get to a checkpoint, you see only 1 or 2 policemen plus 1 soldier. What can they do? And in most cases, you don't even see them with a vehicle. So that even if the case is reported, how can they move immediately to assist the community? So I want to plead with the government to really be decisive and be proactive in tackling security issues in this country, because any life that is lost forever, cannot come back. Indeed. And only God knows how many souls are looking onto that very soul or life that is lost as a source of revival. So I want to plead with the government, please and please, to really come to the rescue of people in terms of security. Because it's only when you are secure that you now complain you are hungry.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Bitsu. The problem is we don't even know the enemy.
I was making a submission.
Okay.
My submission is that if you do a proper observation, if you are close to many security people, discover that if they are afraid of where a problem is coming from, they don't act. They don't want to take risks. They don't want to be blamed. So if a thing is about happening, the next thing is that the person begins to call the next superior officer. If he gets no word from there, you may discover that he will do nothing. So we need to come to a point that people should know that the Constitution has empowered them to do this. Not when they are supposed to do their work, they start calling somebody. The phone is not going. Nobody has talked to them. Nobody has ordered. As long as we continue to wait for one man to order, this president might be sleeping. The chief of staff may not want to wake him up. Then people are being slaughtered. So people are not accountable to the Constitution.
Okay,
they are accountable to individuals.
Okay, Mr. Adesina in Ojo, good morning. Mr. Adesina, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori. Good morning to your guests in the studio.
Okay.
Uncle Yori, actually, this won't killing too many in our land. And it's unfortunate that we can lose so much within 24 hours. On Sunday, when I saw the news that 3 people were dead and curfew was placed 24 hours, the following day, 27 were killed. That means there's so much arms in circulation. Look at the antecedent of what happened to Southern Kaduna and many areas in the east and south and all over the place. I think my suggestion is I want the government to be more proactive, to try to now go beyond the reactive issues of security. Let them begin to go to nooks and crannies where suspected arms are hiding and recover all these arms out. And not call condor and sash. If we can do that, we will make progress in combating this unnecessary wanton killing of life. Because I must tell you, for years now, just has been calm. Plateau said you don't hear anything about it. That means some people are going to hide their weapons somewhere. So we need to be more proactive to ensure that we go to all the nooks and crannies. Our security should uptick their task to ensure that all these weapons that have been hidden can be recovered, and that's how we can solve this problem. Now, challenges in Boko Haram is there. Thank God we are winning the war against Boko Haram. But if just like the last caller said, when you place one or two people to guide a community, and an attack is coming, people are coming hundreds, they will be overpowered, and there's nothing you can do. But I will not absorbing the government about that. But we need more to be proactive in our security issues to ensure that we comb all the nooks and crannies of our land, and all these illegal weapons are recovered, and we deal with the issue of insecurity in our land.
All right.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. Adishino. Well, interesting theory that Chukwemeka put on the table, that look, the system in our country, the chain of command is such that do not be surprised if it is as ridiculous as he has just, sort of sketched out. It might just be that you want to be very, very careful. We don't even know who the enemy is. I don't think you can call him anything but an enemy, or call them anything but enemies. If you're going to take out 29 Nigerian lives, and that you were able to do it in such a cavalier fashion, at least that's the way it seems to us. I mean, we're not talking, police would have been bad enough. I mean, that should have been an uphill task for you. But we're talking about the army now. That's why the guy, the representative, Sulaiman Kwande, who represents the area, is saying that this is one that needs to be singled out for investigation. What exactly is going on there? As often happens with Nigerian stories, maybe there's a lot of background. Right now, we're saying, how are we saying it? We're saying men thought to be Fulani herdsmen. The president has received the news with deep sadness. He's thinking of, he's preaching unity. Let us try and live together, as well as ordering the troops to halt the killings.
Let me pick from where the last caller stopped. Okay, number one, are we patriots in this nation? Because if we are, nobody is not going to be answering to an individual. But the Constitution will come and be the supreme law of the land, which will, whatever we are doing, it will be to our nation. Like he said earlier, you find out that somebody is trying to carry out his assignment and he cannot even do anything because he doesn't know where it's coming from. Because they need to call Mr. A, Mr. B to be sure that he's not, his game, and he doesn't want to be fired, because if he goes and they say, oh, his order is from from above, that is one. Two, the whistle blowing.
My only problem with that is that I don't know why anybody would want any clearance that, look, should we stop the killings? Should we prevent the killings? Nobody can want killings to go ahead, sake of saying you didn't get permission from me.
It is sad. It is sad because
who ordered you to safeguard their lives?
Thank you. Because
right?
if we are looking
that's the ridiculous aspect of this.
Very ridiculous, because ordinarily, like I said, there is no need whatsoever for any instruction from Mr. President to start killing.
Okay, Mr. Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Yuri. Good morning, our gentlemen in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You see, Mr. Yuri, when you talk about all these community classes, the best option for any place or any community, avoid anything that will bring any crime. Because any community, where there is a crime, I bet you, it cannot stop, because there's what they call a reprisal attack. Because when you kill a particular area, when the children or the one they happen to grow, happen to know themselves, they will come back and do what they call reprisal attack. So the best person is that avoid anything that. Now you ask yourself, where are the vigilantes in all these areas? Where are the youth leaders? Where are the community or the world leaders? And where are the national rulers? They have a role to play. Any environment where the youth are not involved in any policy making, any challenge in their Africa, you see having problems. In a particular area, when the children or the one they happen to grow, happen to know themselves, they will come back and do what they call reprisal attack. So the best person is that avoid anything that. Now you ask yourself, where are the vigilantes in all these areas? Where are the youth leaders? Where are the community or the world leaders? And where are the national rulers? They have a role to play. Because any environment where the youth are not involved in any policy making, any challenge in Africa, you see having problems.
But Mazi, there were soldiers there.
Now, Mr. Yori, let me tell you one thing. In 2001, I was producing a paper. I told the guy, I said, look, let me tell you, in this 2001, I'm just doing an instance. I told them, look, as far as the experience I had during the civil war, don't allow anything that will bring any problem in any environment where you find yourself. The moment you establish or you allow anything to function or to appear in that place, I bet you it will not end there. 10 years and 20 years, that is the problem that has to do with anything crisis. Let me tell you, we play with crisis. That is why you see all this problem. But there is no community. Crisis down today. Any place you see where there is a crisis, I bet after 2 years or 3 years, there must be a fatal attack. So what do we do? Agree that they were soldiers, they were security men. Now you ask yourself, the security men, were they sleeping or were they on duty? Because when you go to all these security, the moment they take 6, 7, 8, 9, all of them will go and sleep. And the whole area will be very, very porous. Try, send your security with them. That is it. Security men are human beings. They are not sick. They are not animals. That is what it is. Who are providing
Mazi Okorafo, I beg your pardon for interrupting. You have got to go on a break now. Thank you very much for calling in. Okay, welcome back then. Chukwemeka Ike and Olayinka Ola Daniel still with us. Yinka, you were going to?
Yes, I was saying that, one, we're talking about whistleblowing, and everybody, they were all focusing on money. No one will tell me, as we sit here today, that somebody has no information about that attack. Somebody must have had information about the attack before the attack came up. So who were informed? And
who are the attackers?
Attackers.
Let us start even from there. Does anybody know the attackers? The best we can do now is men thought to be Fulani headsmen.
Like one of the callers said, that there are weapons everywhere. Now, the so-called whistleblower that knows that there's a weapon in a particular place, or that a bunch of armories somewhere, who are the people coming out to inform? And who do you inform? Do you even trust who you are telling?
Well, do you think this goes back to what Mazi Okorafo was talking about, the community vigilantes, securities? He said you can't do without
I will tell you why you cannot do without, and I will agree with it, because I was in just 2001. I was caught up with the menace in just 2001. And what happened? Before the military, the commissioner of police was not in town. The governor was not in town. There was nobody.
And you don't
that could do anything.
You don't think a lot of water has passed under the bridge since 2001 to 2017?
I'm even telling you what happened, how we can rule out the youth and the community, whatever, because it was the community that came to our aid. It was even the University of Jos, I remember, their student union. They came in mass. I don't know where they got their weapons. They were the one retrieving those people. They are retreating. They are taking them back because they were coming to town and they were coming into school. They were firing. Before the military came at later, like maybe the second day, that was when the military came out, because there was nobody to talk to. Thank God the AG was around. I don't know how they were able to do it, to give the information for military to come. It was the student and some of the neighbors that came out with weapons, and they were retreating those people back. In fact, the bus, I remember I was on a particular bus, and the bullets on the bus, thank God that we are alive today to speak.
Is this
were you wearing bulletproof?
That's what I said, thank God we are here.
Is this about right to grazing land, or is this a contest about, for supremacy? Yeah, I don't know. Let me take Mr. George, who has called in. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Uncle Yori, I'm getting worried about some of the comments sometimes that we hear from our analysts. This issue of attacks in Plateau State is not new. the previous caller, Mazio Koraf, was living in Jos before. You can ask him the details of the killings there. The killings there have been taking place long before Buhari came to power. Emeka says that the present government does not care about the killings because they are Fulani people. That is the implication of what he has said.
So.
I don't think that is true. And we should not be, people should not be allowed to use the national television to vent personal attacks. I don't flow with it, and I feel like saying it on Kuyori. The army, the chief of army staff that was responsible during the time Boko Haram people and that the Amnesty International raised questions about people that were being killed in this Boko Haram war. The chief of army staff at that time was Igbo, and it was PDP government. So why is he coming to, I'm sorry, to be saying these things on air, but
okay.
I'm not very happy with the comments he was making this morning.
Okay. Even though he didn't go as far, Mr. George, as you have, narrated, I don't know, but nevertheless, Mr. George read into what you did say, what he has said.
In any case, I have come to understand that in this country, when you analyze, they take your name, do ethnic profiling, compare what you have said with your tribe.
No need to go there.
As if a tribe has been given a view. Mm-hmm. Igbo has nothing to do with this. And I told you there's a paper I wrote, and let him say his own research. What are the security threats? Because I have told you that during Oba's time, that wasn't Buhari's government. What that the governor was about being kidnapped, the reaction that was given to it, that was Obasanjo's time. So he's speaking out of context. Okay. And so basically speaking, I stand to be corrected that the research materials have something different from what I said. Besides, I'm not here to discuss Igbo, Hausa and Yoruba or whatever. So taking it out of there, you're back to what we are saying. No.
Let me quickly add Femi and Surulire's viewpoint to the conversation. Good morning, Femi.
Well, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in, Femi.
What I want to say is this, is that since these things have been happening, we have never, these people who carry out these things, they are not spirits. We have never had one day, we have never had one day that these people, one of them was arrested, one of them was arrested. So that thing is, I don't understand it. A robber can come to your house and steal, but you make every effort to catch that person. When we catch those people, we can know the reason behind all these things. But when all these things happen, we just hear it now. There are 20 people that kill 27 people. At the end of the day, you don't hear that, yes, these people were arrested. That is, before we can get to the root of this thing, we have to get the other side. Then we know the reason. Then we try again to solve it. And then and this issue of our security, if we don't address it properly, because the federal government alone cannot handle the security of this country, we should start thinking of how to get state police, the local government vigilante, and then these people can give good information to the listener. What your other man said, that this issue of whistleblowing, we should extend it to all sorts of things.
Okay.
That we can give information, you can give a place where they can phone and call and say, this is what I see that is coming. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And since they are saying this is, it is thought that this is an attack by those thought to be Fulani herdsmen. I ask, and just in case somebody is listening to this from outside of the country, doesn't know the dynamics, local dynamics, is this about the rights to graze cattle, since you are saying Fulani herdsmen, thought to be human Fulani, or is it a supremacy contest of some sort?
No, permit me to say this, that let's not treat the symptoms. We fund the National Intelligence Agency. We have the Defense Intelligence Agency. We have the State Security Service. So, besides the police and the army.
And
so
yet we don't know.
Why is it that some Nigerians will be able to kill 29 Nigerians? And we will be propounding theories about how it happened, whereas we have agencies paid for to tell us how it happened. So we'll start telling ourselves.
And right now, it is the representative, Sulaiman Kande, who is calling for an investigation.
Yes. So should he ordinarily call for an investigation where 29 people have been killed? So in other countries, so 29 people will be slaughtered. And remember, there have been instances, 50 people or 30, because today we are discussing 29 people. Well, we don't know.
We get a hint in the president's call for unity. So I don't know. That could mean a lot of things. It could mean exactly what it says. It could also mean, since they are bringing in suspected Fulani herdsmen, emphasis on suspected, that look, can we live together? Can we get along? There's a lot more to this. Why would you get up? Because we have to go back to there, and it's not fresh, it's not new, it's been happening serially. Why would you get up as a group and go and overwhelm the army? I mean, I don't know how else to put it, and actually kill 29 people. And right now, they're telling us that all of Plateau is confused. Before you launch, but let me just take Mr. Yakub. Good morning, Yakub.
Hello, sir.
Thank you for calling in, Yakub. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning, Dr. and the other gentlemen.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the last caller made a very, very valid point. Because for me, this kind of security threat, about whether they call them S-man or they call them whatever name they give to them, it comes to a situation whereby we don't need to take it anymore. Since all these S-man have been attacked, for me, this my own personal opinion on this issue as a layman is that I don't believe it's S-man. I can say that it's a Boko Haram disguised in S-man, not to say, because the village I come from Oyo State, we have been living together with these people called Kasuera, and then we have been living peacefully before I come down to Lagos. Chief Yori, I don't believe people that did legitimate business about the cattle can just go around and kill people. They cannot, because I believe this is a Boko Haram disguise. Why am I saying that, Chief Yori? Until federal government get up and begin to calm down with these people. Because in our own language, they say, Enitaba orilo we, edembere ba oloshe lori lowo. So Enitaba orilo lo pa eyan now. Because he was one keeper. When you see somebody carry someone's head, and then you are asking, how do you carry the head? Until we go to a station where we go back to a state police, severely, we cannot settle this issue.
All right then, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call, Yakub. I interrupted you.
Yes, Uncle, I want to say this. It's a bitter truth, but we must face it. Nigeria is not going to move forward, and we're not going to go anywhere if we don't see Nigeria as a nation, and if we don't see ourselves as one. When the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Igbos, the Ibibios, the Fulanis, the whatever they call themselves by tribe, don't drop all their tribes and see Nigerian first before whatever they are. Now, why I say that? Because that is where patriots comes in. That is when you say, yes, I am a Nigerian. So whether it is Fulani heads, whether it is Boko Haram from somewhere, whether it's Yoruba, whether it's Igbo, whether it's Niger Delta, whatever.
Business about the cattle can just go around and kill people. They cannot. because I believe this is a Boko Haram disguise. Why am I saying that? If you're the federal government get up and begin to calm down with these people, because in our own language, they say, so because he was one key person. When you see somebody carry someone's head, and then you are asking, how do you carry the head? Until we go to a station where we go back to a state police, severely, we cannot settle this issue.
All right then, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate your call, Yakub. I interrupted you.
Yes, Onkuri, I want to say this. It's a bitter truth, but we must face it. Nigeria is not going to move forward, and we're not going to go anywhere if we don't see Nigeria as a nation, and if we don't see ourselves as one. When the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Igbos, the Ibibios, the Fulanis, the whatever they call themselves by tribe, don't drop all their tribes and see Nigerian first before whatever they are. Now, why I say that? Because that is where patriots comes in. That is when you say, yes, I am a Nigerian. So whether it is Fulani herbs, whether it is Boko Haram from somewhere, whether it's Yoruba, whether it's Igbo, whether it's Niger Delta, whatever, that is carrying out this act, Onkuri, I will summarize by saying it is a pure terrorism. An act of terrorism, then let us address issues. You know, most times in Nigeria, what we see is people start dealing with, unnecessary things, tribe, politics, and all that. Why can't we address the issue? There's an issue at hand, an act of terrorism. Let us find them and bring them to book.
Okay, let's go on our last break. We'll be right back. Stay with us, please. In the wake of the killing of 29 people, 29 at least, that's the figure we're getting, the president has said that we need to, learn to live together after expressing his deep regret over it. We need to learn to live together. Who did this? We don't know. The best that they can come up with is men thought to be Fulani herdsmen. Chukwemeka said earlier that we've got all sorts of intelligence agencies, whether it is army, whether it is SSS, whether it is DSS, military intelligence, then there are police, or there's police on the ground, regular soldiers on the ground. People are paid to know such things. And here we are frigging around saying we don't know. So if you refuse to identify where the problem is, I don't know that this is not going to happen again. And that's the worry.
The worry is ethnic jingoists have taken over the country. And anywhere where the fault lines are promoted, it is easy to kill. Anywhere, any part of the world. Take Rwanda, for example. They promoted their fault lines based on Tutsi Hutu formula. And that became a weapon for them to kill. If you look at Burundi, they had the same experience. Central African Republic, the anti-Balaka, and the other group. So look at, for instance, with due respect that I'm involved, how a caller linked me to the former chief of army staff, who doesn't know me, and I don't know from Adam, who has never spoken to me in life.
Okay, Mr. Babatunde is waiting to join this conversation. Good morning, Mr. Babatunde.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling.
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir. First caller on your program.
Thank you for calling.
And good morning to your guest.
Sure.
Good morning.
I think, Uncle Joby, there's something we need to get straight right in this country. There should be difference between selfish interest and general country interest. These gentlemen that you invited to your program are saying the reality that me and you supposed to fight on. And someone is calling, talking about party, talking about one herdsman. Let's call a spade a spade. This thing is act of terrorism. How can you leave your home and you go to another individual community to kill them? What do you want to gain from that? Is it money? No. There is something behind this thing. And until we go back to our individual community to affect it from there, we are not going anywhere. Some people are asking that they want to leave, and we are saying that they should not leave. This one are saying that they want to leave, and we are saying that they should not leave. In Austria, some days ago, a 31-year-old man became their head. What is happening with our country? We are supposed to call ourselves and tell ourselves the truth, but rather we are all around talking about one party or the other. Let's call it spade a spade.
All right then, thank you very much. Well, as the president said, we have to learn unity. The president has unity.
Do murderers
did they listen to that sermon?
Message of unity, and that is why every country you must have a way of punishing murderers. If you allow murderers to define national cohesion, national relationship, it takes time before they will understand the language of unity.
Because any way you look at it, I think one thing that can be agreed from all the contributions is that it is terrorism, no matter who is behind it. This is terrorism. It's a threat to security. And this is a main aspect of the Buhari regime, the Buhari, this particular administration.
That is not new, Yori.
It isn't. Yeah,
but the dimension it has taken is new. Why did IBB create just not local government? The Plateau question is not new. And you can see many people from Plateau are not contributing. I don't know why. If they had contributed, perhaps we would have known more.
Paul in Egbeda, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
I'm Paul calling from Egbeda.
We're waiting for you, Paul.
Okay. Please, those people that are killing human beings always and all the time, for years, and we have been hearing of Fulani headsmen killing innocent souls.
Well, they're referred to as people thought to be.
For God's sake. Let the Nigerian army go and dance crocodile or whatever they call the python dance or anaconda dance in the Jaws to stop this killing for crying out loud.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're just saying that, well, the people, the way they're expressing it is people thought to be, because nobody is about to make a definitive statement as to these are the actual aggressors. But the one thing is that they are terrorists. This is after the first. This is after 29, 20. I beg your pardon. After 20 reportedly killed. Go back to September, the middle of September, and here we are now at 29 at least. And let it be said, papers, the news media generally tend to not exaggerate figures. So do not be surprised if indeed there are people who will say that the number in all probability was higher.
Because the question is, this September 7 is not far from...
Nani from Jos, our last caller. Good morning.
That's good.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you for bringing Plateau State to bear. And one thing we look out for is the reaction of the federal government to make us look on the Plateau State like the real Nigerian indigenous. Because these attacks have been going on unabated for like 17, 18 years. When it first started in Lantang, Taro people, to be specific, where I came from, they said the Taro people were crisis entrepreneurs. They were looking for trouble from the headsmen. That's why they are attacking them. Now it has moved even down to the northern part of the senatorial district of Plateau State. And we still have not really had any reaction from the federal government. Because we are yet to really see them react the way we want them to react to this situation.
Well, Mr. President has ordered that the killings be halted.
No, what I read is that they should move to see that there is no reprisal attack. Can we stop the attack itself? Because one thing I see is that the military men that were on ground said they've not been given the mandate to attack. What were they given the mandate to do? What were they doing there? If not to protect the people, the lives and property. Innocent women and children were killed. They're looking at them because they've not been given the orders. What were the orders given for them to be there? To just come and see how they were killed? Please, it is time we address these issues and make us feel like the Nigerian people that we needed to be protected. Not that we keep hearing some slang, some military terms, and then nothing is done. I hope whoever is listening, and then justice to be done to the Plateau people, because we are peaceful people and we look forward to be seen as Nigerians that we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nai, for calling in, and Nai is our final caller.
Yeah,
in fact, she just about rounds off the program, but maybe...
I said September 7 to this time is just a month and, some days. Now, if there was an attack September 7, and now we have a curfew, there are military there, if a soldier is sworn into the Constitution, to the oath of the Constitution, if a soldier is being employed by Nigeria, if a soldier is a patriot and is supposed to serve Nigeria, and now the first attack came, nothing was done, a second attack came, and you are there, you're waiting for a command to apprehend the people that came to kill people, then you are not serving the nation. Then you have failed and you have breached the oath you signed for the Constitution. Seriously? Uncle Yori, we need to be proactive as an individual, as a people, as a nation. Else, this will continue and we may not have a way out. And I pray it will not lead to anarchy.
It sounds simple enough, but apparently it's a lot more complicated once we begin to talk of our beloved Nigeria. That's where we must end it, except Chukwemeka, if you had...
My last comment is that we should take the country back from the precipice. Because a country that, as we speak now, these people that have been killed, will the president visit that place to console the people?
He has commiserated with those who lost their lives.
I mean visit.
Okay.
Visit.
Okay.
Yes, and talk to the people. Will the vice president visit? Because will something be done? Will these people be fished out?
Which is most important.
So that other killers will now know that there is no place to hide.
So
that is what will make us happy.
Thank you very much, Chukwemeka Eze and Olayinka Ola Daniels, barristers or lawyers all. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for coming on the program. And so that's our program. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.